Hey guys, Jo here with SportsGrid. It's time for a Puck It with Jo. We have a loaded slate today, and now 3 games have already kicked off. So let's take a look at these games where they're sitting. Hopefully, you caught my morning Puck of Jo. Yeah, Pocket Cup of Jo. I can't talk today. In that, we got the Nashville Predators on the puck line in the first period. We also gave that out on Game Time Decisions this morning. So hopefully you got it in both of those places. That was coming in at plus 150. Now I was riding the under between the Edmonton Oilers and the Buffalo Sabres. That game started off so incredibly fast with the Edmonton Oilers getting a goal within the first 29 seconds. Now it is goaltender Lankaken's birthday today for the Buffalo Sabres. He is turning, well, he did turn 25. So happy birthday to him. We'll see what he has in the rest of this game because right now, Edmonton is up 2-1. We are in the third period with 13 minutes left. If you think this one stays under the total of 4.5, and we've got 3 goals right now, that's coming in at plus 220. The chances of the Sabres tying this up and pushing that one to the over is there. But Edmonton also, that plus 210, it's now moved to, looks so tempting to take to the under. We know both of these teams can score. I'm not sure how much faith I have in Skinner in that for the Edmonton Oilers, but I tell you that plus 210 is screaming at me for the under 4.5. The over is too highly juiced at minus 280. So that's a live look at that one. The Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils are playing right now. They're going into that third period. This is tied 1-1 apiece going into the third. So if you were riding the under in this game, it looks like it is going to cash for you. That live number has moved to 4.5. When we went into this game, I didn't like the lines. I thought it looked kind of fishy. So I did take the New Jersey Devils at home at plus 118. I expected Carolina to be close to a $2 favorite. They're still not close to a $2 favorite, sitting minus 142 tied going into this third period. And I do think the ability of the Devils to win this one is there just because of that line. I tell you, sometimes things look fishy and you've got to go with your gut, knowing the books definitely do know something. So plus 112 here for the New Jersey Devils is where I would go. Nashville and Columbus, I only bet that first period. That total is sitting at 4.5 as they just lock things up. That third period just getting started there. It is still at 4.5 at plus 126 to the under, minus 162 to the over. It's a lot of goals to come. We've got solid goaltending out of both of these goalies so far in this game. If you like the Nashville Predators on the full game puck line, I couldn't get behind it when we first started off. The value is all there, though. Laying 1.5 coming in at plus 185. I would do that before I hit the Columbus Blue Jackets, plus the 1.5. And then you can get the Preds straight up on the money line. Don't love it, you guys. I'm not going to touch anything else in that game. We hit the first period. I'm staying off. Happy Saturday to you too, Ron. So let's start looking at the games coming up here. At 3:00, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Boston Bruins. Now, the Penguins were not buyers at the trade deadline, and you've got to think the frustration is going to come out within their top core. Sidney Crosby's got to be frustrated, especially after they lost to the Washington Capitals. They got shut out by the Capitals in that last game, 6-0. Now, Boston here is rolling in off that win versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. As my dogs start to bark a little bit here, I don't think the Penguins are a barking dog, though. In this one, they're coming in at plus 158, minus 192 for the Boston Bruins, and total of 5.5. Now, that 5.5 is juiced to the over at minus 124. And after what we saw out of Boston versus Toronto, you got to think they're going to lock down the Pittsburgh Penguins in the same way, especially the Penguins. And I know sometimes off a shutout loss, you see that offense really stepping up, but I think the Penguins core are going to be frustrated with what they did at the trade deadline. I think Boston can easily get the win here and control this game. So I am going to look at Boston in this one to get the win, and the Pittsburgh Penguins to stay under their team total of 2.5. Just checking the line on that under 2.5, it's still sitting at minus 112. I do think that is the best way to go. If you want to take the Boston Bruins on the puck line, minus 1.5 is coming in at plus 130, and I foresee them being able to cover that puck line. I think maybe you could even look at alt puck lines in this one, as I really do think the Penguins are going to be frustrated in this. Now, another player, though, I would look at, they did get Bunting here from the Carolina Hurricanes. So I would look at Bunting shots on goal. Now, I just want to see if those odds are up, because we've seen there hasn't been a lot of odds up early for these games, and they have put them out now. So, and everything is locked in this matchup. Bunting, I'm not even 2+. Yeah, looking at the 2+ here for Bunting, he is not listed. I wonder if I do believe Bunting is playing today, but maybe he's not. Yeah, he is playing. So the anytime goal for Michael Bunting's coming in at plus 320. We're not getting any shot props. I expect those shots to come in by Bunting. So if you're seeing it on your book at 3+ shots with good money, I expect him to come out solid versus the Boston Bruins. You look at these players coming onto a team, and they want to show their worth going out there on the ice. So I would look at Michael Bunting for 3+ shots if you're getting the value out there, you guys. Let's talk about the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames are taking on the Florida Panthers. Now, the Panthers are a huge favorite, and rightly so. This team, huge buyers at the trade deadline. I love what we've seen out of this team so far this season. They're built to make a run for the cup. Their defense is so phenomenally solid. They have the goaltending, and they also have the offensive firepower. Now, the Calgary Flames are in a mentality, us against the world, and we know how strong teams are that are fighting like that. Even though they sold off all their players, you're seeing the players still left really fighting to get these wins. That surprise win by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it really did surprise me what they were able to do versus a team that needed the win, was incredible. Now facing the Florida Panthers, it's going to be so hard for Calgary to pull off another upset win here. They're coming in at plus 188. The Florida Panthers minus 230. That puck line plus 1.5 for Calgary is minus 130, and minus 1.5 for the Florida Panthers is plus 108. Now the Florida Panthers really haven't been blowing a lot of teams out of the water. We have a total of 6.5, minus 142 to the under, and plus 116 to the over. The Panthers have failed to cover that puck line in their last 5 home games. So it does give me reason to want to back Calgary on that puck line plus 1.5. But I think if I'm going to do that, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of money on Calgary to pull off that complete upset here. They have won the last 4 meetings versus the Panthers, that last one being in December 3-1. So Calgary knows how to pull off the upset versus the Florida Panthers. I'm going to look at for my best bets here, player props. Nazem Kadri for the anytime goal. He's coming in at plus 240, and Blake Coleman at plus 250. I think so much value for both of those players to come out nice and strong. Now, Connor Zary isn't out on the ice. He's still injured, but once he returns, we definitely have to start circling him. He's so powerful. And then you've got to look at the kind of rivalry matchup there. Matthew Tkachuk versus his former team. I love storylines like that. Matthew Tkachuk up plus 185 for the anytime goal for the Florida Panthers. And the goalie matchup is Markstrom and Bobrovsky. Markstrom expressing his dislike for how the trade deadline came and went with him. All the talks of Calgary trying to trade him. You got to think he's a little hot under the collar. And really wanting to prove himself out there that he is a goaltender that Calgary never should think of trading. But I understand why Calgary was thinking of trading him, just because, well, cap space in Calgary really going nowhere this season. But who are you going to build off next season? So I think Markstrom needs to stay in Calgary. I'm pretty sure he will move this summer, but we'll see what happens with that. I do expect this one to be really tight to that number. We'll see maybe the first period over 1.5. We know those goals can come quick and fast out of both of these teams and then settle down like we're seeing in these games out there today. Let's look at kind of an uglier game with the Ottawa Senators at 7 o'clock taking on the San Jose Sharks. Now, the Sharks have been surprising to people in some of these games, especially with what they're able to do versus the Dallas Stars. They were able to push both of those games versus the Stars to OT. They're plus 180 underdogs here at home, in the Ottawa Senators at minus 220. Where in the world did the Sens deserve to be minus 220 favorites is my biggest question mark. I can't trust the Sens. Vladimir Tarasenko was traded off. This total is at 6.5 at minus 122 and plus 100 to the under. If you like the plus 1.5 on the Sharks, you're getting that at minus 132 on FanDuel, and the minus 1.5 on the Ottawa Senators at plus 110. The Sens are 0-6 as a favorite on that puck line, so I wouldn't trust them to be able to cover that puck line. The Sharks plus the 1.5 at minus 132. There's value, but if I'm going to take the Sharks, I would take them straight up for the full game with that plus money. Again, that is coming in at plus 180. What I like best is this team on their home ice in that first period. We're getting them on the money line in the first period at plus 110. And I think it's a really solid way to go. This team has been explosive in the first period in a lot of these games. And Anton Forsberg in net for the Ottawa Senators. He's got a 3.29 goals against average and a .888 save percentage. I think the Sharks can do enough on their home ice. I just can't get behind the Ottawa Senators there at home. And you guys, we talk every single game here on the board and where I would put my money. So it would be the Sharks first period. And then the Sharks, I don't know, full game, you might be able to hit both. Let's look at the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. We have a barking home dog here in Montreal at plus 155. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs coming in at minus 188 and a total of 6.5. Juice to the over at minus 112, minus 108 to the under. If you like Montreal to keep it tight, plus 1.5 is minus 152. So out of my range, but if you don't mind laying that juice, definitely bettable for you. And the minus 1.5 on Toronto is plus 126. Now, right away, this game screams a couple of players that you got to look for the player props. Austin Matthews for the goals is juiced. You're going to take him for 1 goal at minus 130. I don't love that. I would look at Austin Matthews' points tonight if you want to take something against him. We know he gets up versus the Habs, so I do expect a lot out of him in this one. But you've also got to circle and look so deeply at Nick Suzuki and what he's been doing. Out of the All-Star break, both of these guys have been lighting up the net. We've seen Austin Matthews only get 1 more goal than Nick Suzuki. No one's talking about Nick Suzuki in the books, not giving him any love. Nick Suzuki coming in for the anytime goal at plus 185. So you got 2 guys that have both been phenomenally strong. Nick Suzuki at plus 185 for the anytime goal and Austin Matthews at minus 130. Yes, Austin Matthews is on the stronger team, but Nick Suzuki is playing his heart out there. So I love the value we're getting on him. I would look at him for the anytime goal at plus 185. And I'd look at Austin Matthews for the 2+ points and get more value there. If you want to go deeper down, you can look at Cole Caulfield, which you're not getting as much plus money on Cole Caulfield, even though Nick Suzuki has been the star of this team. So Cole Caulfield coming in at plus 160, but I think he's a longer shot than Nick Suzuki in this one. I'm also going to look at Sam Montague for his over on his save shots on goal. That number coming in at 29.5. We know the Toronto Maple Leafs absolutely are so strong offensively. I said we've got a barking dog in the Montreal Canadiens here. For the Montreal Canadiens to be able to pull off the upset, Sam Montague has to be at his best today. Now, he hasn't been a goalie I've been trusting as of late. He's been absolutely showing his struggles out there on the ice. Jake Allen has been traded off. Sam Montague is the future of this team. He absolutely has to get back to rate the ship. So I'm going to take him over the 29.5 save shots on goal at minus 114. Toronto will put up those shots today. I expect them to put up at least 36 shots on him. So fingers crossed that he can only allow 5 to go in and we can easily go over the 29.5. Let's look at the next game. We got the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Andre Vasilevskiy expected here for the Lightning and Erzen for the Flyers. I'm going to take the first period over 1.5. I'm expecting both of these teams to get off to a hot start. When we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning off that loss to Calgary, they allow Calgary to get in that game from the very start. They can't do that in this one, but I do think the Flyers have the opportunity to hit Vasilevskiy quick. So that over 1.5, it could be both teams to score. I would prefer if the Tampa Bay Lightning score both of those goals. So I kind of just leaned on the over 1.5. But I do think Tampa can win this in regulation. Now, the line has moved a little bit. I got Tampa in regulation at plus 105. It's now up to plus 120 for Tampa in regulation. I still believe in this bet and think that they can get things done. The reason I'm not taking them on the puck line, they haven't been blowing anyone out at home. They're sitting 0-6 on the puck line in their last 6 home games. So 14-18 on that puck line overall. And we look at the Flyers and this team phenomenally strong on that puck line, 26-6 on the road. So I do think this is a tight one here. I lean on the Tampa Bay Lightning being able to cover that puck line, but I just can't get behind it with the numbers that we are getting here. Now, the Flyers are surprising to me with what we've seen out of them. They've moved to 3rd in the Metro And we have the Tampa Bay Lightning sitting 5th in the Atlantic. You guys know I put a little bit of sprinkle on the Lightning to be able to be solid in the Atlantic here. We need them to get every win that they can get right now. Let's talk about another dog that I think is barking here, and it's an ugly one. Are you guys ready for it? Ugly barking dog. I don't think it gets uglier than this. Let's find the odds first before I say it. I don't even like saying it. It's one of those things that's like, let's just pretend we didn't say it. The Chicago Blackhawks are plus 172, and I think they're barking here on the road versus the Washington Capitals. The Capitals are minus 210, and I know they had a fantastic game in their last game out versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. They got that 6-0 shutout win with Ovi just lighting things up. We got Ovechkin for the 2+ points. That was at plus 300. It was a money-making game for us, other than the fact that it didn't go over that total, because I did expect the Penguins to find the back of the net a couple of times. But this game, the total is 5.5, minus 115 to the over and minus 105 to the under. If you want to play it safe for the Chicago Blackhawks, plus 1.5 or minus 142, but I don't think you need to take them on the puck line. I think they can pull off the complete upset here. Charlie Lindgren in net for the Washington Capitals. And I think just this team coming off such a big rivalry game between Ovi and Sid Crosby, this is a one-off home game as well. And then they have a road trip on deck. So they were on the road in Pittsburgh. They come home, they play this one. They've got a 5-game road trip on deck, which starts Monday. I don't like the scheduling spot. And I look here at the Chicago Blackhawks and Connor Bedard really pushing out there on the ice. I think you take him for the anytime goal at plus 185. Pelangelo coming in at plus 390. A long shot goal scorer here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, this is the first night of a back-to-back for Chicago. They do have the Arizona Coyotes again at home tomorrow, and they're off that win versus the Arizona Coyotes. That was a 5-2 win. I expect them to find their feet under them on the ice tonight and light the lamp. So I'm willing to take them here. You can look at Ovi for the anytime goal. He had an awesome game last time. If you want to bet something for Washington, that's the only thing I'd bet at plus 3 or plus 130, not 330. That would be incredible if we were getting those kind of odds. Let's look at the St. Louis Blues taking on the New York Rangers. I love what the Rangers bring to the table. This team is so phenomenally strong. The St. Louis Blues are plus 180 and the New York Rangers minus 220. Matt Rempe, if we could bet how many times he's going to fight out there on the ice, that would be fantastic. This team is going to play a super defensive lockdown kind of game. Igor Shesterkin in net. So the total is 5.5. Minus 124 to the over and plus 102 to the under. Give me the under all day long. And could this be a scary one where it's the Rangers win 5-1 or 4-1? Absolutely. I just hope that empty netter or something doesn't happen like that and pushes over that total. But I do think the under is the right way to go. The St. Louis Blues have been struggling to find the back of the net, and I don't think they'll be able to find it on Igor. Igor has been heating up as of late, and we look at his overall record. He's got a 2.67 goals against average and a 910 save percentage. Binghamton is on the other side for the St. Louis Blues. And Binghamton has impressed me this season. You know, he flew off the handle so much last season. He's really composed this season. And he's been playing solid for the St. Louis Blues. So I do think the support will come out of this defense. The defense does allow him to be peppered quite a bit with 32.2 shots on goal per game allowed, but their kill is decent at 79.3% of the time. And when we look at the Rangers here, they've got a strong power play at 25.1%. Their kill is phenomenal, 83.1%. So what we need to see is a lack of penalties in this one, especially out of the St. Louis Blues, because we don't want any more opportunities on Binghamton. But I do have faith that Binghamton can help keep this one to the under. And like I said, it could be a 4-1 style game here, still keeps us under the 5.5. I expect it to be closer. I expect it to be a 2-1 or a 3-2 style game in this one. But either way, going under that total with the Rangers defense controlling this game. Okay, we're moving in to the 10 o'clock Eastern time mark, you guys. We got the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Another low total of 5.5, minus 104 to the under. minus 118 to the over. We have the Jets rolling in here on the second night of a back-to-back. They're coming in at plus 122 on the money line and minus 146 here for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, that puck line, there is no value, but if you just want those odds, minus 1.5 for the Vancouver Canucks is plus 168. So there's value there, but plus 1.5 for the Jets is minus 200. So can't get behind that. I do think the Winnipeg Jets have the ability, even though they're on their second game in 2 days, because they did play last night versus Seattle and they got that win. And it was a frustrating one because Seattle was looking so solid. Both of those teams were limiting each other. And it finished 3-0. Not a true depiction of how that game played out. That was an absolute tight battle out there, a tight defensive one. And that's what I'm expecting in this one as well. We got Connor Hellebuck versus a Demko. Now, both of these goaltenders are phenomenally strong. So that under 5.5, really solid way to go. And now we know Tyler Toffoli has been added to the lineup. And team is going to make a run for the cup. They are built to be able to do so. We know how strong this defense is at locking down opponents' ability to light the lamp. And I really do think with the strong right winger in Tyler Toffoli, they're loaded and they're so deep. All four of their lines are phenomenally deep. But you look at Tyler Toffoli going on that top line with Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor, they're going to be unstoppable out there, you guys. I think offensively, this team is going to be picking up greatly with him out there on the ice. He knows how to close out these games as well. My problem is Tyler Toffoli will not be hitting the ice in this game. He will be out for their next game on Monday, or he'll be in, but you know what I mean. He'll be out on the ice. He'll be in the game on Monday. So we're going to circle Tyler Toffoli on Monday for those anytime goals. He's going to be impactful right out of the gate. Him and Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, you look at their points, their power play points, they're going to come. I don't expect any lack of time. Like when players join teams, there sometimes takes a couple moments for them to get that a jive going with each other down on the ice. But I don't expect that out of Tyler Toffoli. This will be his fourth Canadian team playing for, and I expect him to start it off with a bang. Now, Monahan of the Winnipeg Jets has been phenomenally strong as well. He was traded from Montreal a couple weeks ago. Monahan, a really solid center out there. He's plus 280 for the anytime goal today, and Kyle Connor plus 185. So I'm giving you the odds on those guys. I'm not going to take goal scorers because I am looking for this one to go under the 5.5. But I do think the Winnipeg Jets have every opportunity of winning it, and we're getting great plus money on them. I also like looking at the players for those shots on goal because I still do think the shots on goal are coming. So Kyle Connor for 3+ shots on goal. Elias Pettersson of the Vancouver Canucks for 3+ shots on goal. And Elias Lindholm for the 3+ shots on goal. I would look at all of those guys for those shots to come in. Canucks or pass for you, John. And I understand why. Canucks at home. This is the first game of a 9-game home stretch for the Vancouver Canucks. They're coming off a game in Vegas. So it is the first game home off a road trip. They went 3-0 on that road trip, and I like to fade teams in this kind of situation. But they don't go back out on the road until they face Vegas, I believe it's April 2nd. So it's a long time off. Happy Hockey Saturday, Mark. Good to see you here. Let's go Bruins. Yeah, I got the Bruins for a nice win today. Let's look at the Red Wings versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, this is 10 o'clock Eastern. Vegas will have Jack Eichel out there on the ice, and Noah Hanifin, who they stole from my Calgary Flames, will be out there tonight. Noah Hanifin, I expect a big game out of him. We know the lack of defense, especially as of late, out of the Detroit Red Wings. You can look at Noah Hanifin for the anytime goal at plus 490. I have to put some money on that one. That one is just screaming at me tonight. You have the Red Wings off a shutout loss to the Arizona Coyotes. They allowed the Coyotes to get 4 goals, and they couldn't answer back in a game I expected them to play a lot stronger. Now they're sitting fourth in the Atlantic, and the Vegas Golden Knights here sitting fourth in the Pacific. Vegas needs every single win they can get, but the Red Wings have won the last 2 meetings in Vegas, including in February. They won that one 5-2, and 3 of the last 4 meetings in Vegas. So this is a situation where the Red Wings play them super tight. I'm looking at the Red Wings team total. I'm going to take it over 2.5. That's coming in at minus 116. They've had 3 or more goals in Vegas in 7 of the last 10 meetings. So I do expect those goals to come. And I know Aiden Hill is phenomenally strong, but I think this is a game where these two teams trade back and forth those goals. So looking at the odds, because I forgot to tell you guys, plus 168 for the Red Wings, minus 205 for the Vegas Golden Knights, in total 6.5. I go over 6.5 at plus 102. I know Aiden Hill is strong, and James Reimer, he's coming in here with a 2.98 goals against average and a 906 save percentage. Aiden Hill with a 2.51 and a 920. But I think the offensive firepower on both sides, especially with Jack Eichel out there on the ice, and my thoughts on Noah Hanovan, an offensive defenseman that should be able to find the back of the net playing here in Vegas. I like it. Now, Vegas has a road trip on deck, the Kraken on Tuesday and the Flames on Thursday. So Noah Hanovan will be returning to play against his former team. 4 games into that trade, 3 games into the trade. So definitely circle him versus his former team. That's going to be a really interesting matchup back in Calgary. Now, when we look at the Red Wings here, Dylan Larkin is out with injury, which puts a big weakness up the middle for the Red Wings. So Vegas will score. Jack Eichel for the anytime goal plus 135. But then looking at the Red Wings, I do expect them to answer back. Patrick Kane here for the anytime goals plus 180. I really like Alex DeBrincat too with the value we're getting at plus 210. So that's where I'm going with that game, you guys. We have one more game to go over here. We have the Dallas Stars taking on the LA Kings. Now, the Dallas Stars played last night, and they started Jake Ottinger. They were able to get that big win over the Ducks, 6-2. I thought the Ducks were quacking at least enough to cover that puck line. Dallas proved me completely wrong coming out of the gate so phenomenally strong. Now, Chris Tanev, the other player from Calgary that got traded away, strong defenseman, he was able to get a goal. He was so impactful in the game versus the Stars. So this team, definitely a team to watch. They came out to play last night, and they proved it. Scott Wedgwood will be in net, not Jake Ottinger tonight versus the Kings. He's got a 2.97 goals against average and an 899 save percentage. He's 3-2 in his 5 career starts versus the Kings with a 2.60 goals against average and a 919 save percentage. So he has played the Kings tight. When we look at the Kings, it is Cam Talbot expected. He's got a 2.46 goals against average and a 916 save percentage. He's been absolutely on fire as of late. Some of the saves he has made on those high danger shots, I can't believe that he hasn't let them go in the back of his net. I expect the same. Cam Talbot has to come out phenomenally strong. We know the Dallas Stars offensively can really bring it. They're averaging 31.1 shots on goal per game. Their power play is converting at 24.1%, and their kills phenomenally strong at 81.3%. We know the Kings defensively are phenomenally solid out here. That kill is 86.2%. They're allowing 28.4 shots on goal and only 2.61 goals per game. Offensively converting at 22.6 on the power play, averaging 33.1 shots on goal. I do think this is one where we look at the goalie props. I'm going to bring them up in just a second because I've got this one going under all day long. I think this could be a 1-0 game, 2-1 game. These two teams are so hot right now. Dallas sitting first in the Central and the LA Kings sitting third in the Pacific. They're 3 points behind the Edmonton Oilers. They definitely want to catch the Oilers. And they're 2 points in front of Vegas. So they can't afford to lose this game. They absolutely need the win. They need Vegas to lose. Now, Kempe is still out for the LA Kings, but at home here, I have faith in them. They're sitting a 13-10, 2-5 at home. The first period, I'm going to take under 1.5. The under 1.5 in the first period is minus 104. There are 6.5s out there. The under 6.5 at minus 130-ish, but the full, oh no, actually this one is under 6.5. Yeah, at minus 130. I thought FanDuel would move this one to an under 5.5, and they haven't. So I do like the under 6.5 at minus 130. I do think, though, that first period under 1.5 is where your best bet is at minus 104. The Kings have come out hot in the first period, and the Kings have allowed the Dallas Stars to come out hot in the first period in the last couple. Okay, so they have to absolutely, and the Stars have won those last 2 meetings and for the last 5 versus the Kings. The downfall for the Kings has been allowing 2 or more goals to the Dallas Stars in that first period. I don't think Cam Talbot's going to do that. The Kings themselves versus the Dallas Stars, they've found 1 in 1 goal in the first period in the last 3 games. So I do expect the Kings to completely lock down on the defensive side. They know they can't get behind the Dallas Stars because that's a recipe for them to lose. So give me the under 1.5 in the first period as both of these teams lock down on defense. The Dallas Stars on the second night of a back-to-back. Well, you might be worried about them defensively. I am not. I think this is a slower paced, hard-hitting defensive game out there on the ice. But you guys, we got through all of the games in under, 30 minutes on the dot. Let's just look at where those games are sitting. The Buffalo Sabres did tie it up. Oh, we've got 18 minutes left in the third period. I tell you, sometimes looking at FanDuel, or you know what, that's got to be overtime. It is overtime. I tell you, it's confusing sometimes on FanDuel. Make sure you always check where those lines really are at. It's 2-2 with 4 minutes left in OT from what I'm seeing on other lines. We have the Nashville Predators and the Columbus Blue Jackets still 2-1 in that third period. And the Canes and the Devils sitting 2-1. Devils to come back with 6 minutes left in the third period, plus 630 is the live money line for the New Jersey Devils. I thought they could get the win going into this game because those lines looked fishy. I love the value. I'm going to double dip on that one, plus 1.5 at minus 146. You got to worry about that empty netter, and that could come crushing that puck line there. But with 6 minutes left, something about this game just stunk going into it, with the Devils being only short home dogs versus the Carolina Hurricanes team that's absolutely phenomenal on the defensive side of the puck. So you guys have a great day. Best of luck in all of your bets. You know what? Could we see the Sabres win with Lankican, his birthday? I took the under in this game. That under is going to cash the under 6.5. Hopefully you guys got it this morning. Plus 102 right now on the Sabres. They're still taking bets in this one in OT. I put my money on the Sabres right now. You guys, best of luck in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money out there on the ice. Don't forget to join me tonight with Scott Wetzel. We are live from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be going over everything. I'm watching the Creighton and Villanova game right now. If you keep seeing me look that way, that is why. Creighton's up 30-8. We'll be going over college basketball, NBA, live betting these NHL games, everything on the slate. So make sure you join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm jumping on in-game live all access this afternoon with the guys at 5:12 Eastern. So make sure you come by and say hi. Let's make some money, you guys. I will see you bright and early tomorrow. Game time decisions, 11:25 Eastern. We will then do Pocket with Joe after that. You guys, all the best.